What's going on, everyone? So this offseason has been absolutely wild already. Kristaps Porzingis has officially been traded by the Boston Celtics. So, per Shams, Boston, Atlanta, and Brooklyn are finalizing a three-team trade that sends Kristaps Porzingis and a second-round pick to the Atlanta Hawks, Terrence Mann and the Atlanta's number 22 pick to the Brooklyn Nets, and Georges Niang and a second-rounder to the Celtics. Now, breaking this all down because there is a lot here, right? At first glance, it looks like Boston didn't really get anything. It's like Georges Niang and a second round pick. Like they basically gave Kristaps Porzingis away. The big thing here with the Celtics, because I've already seen a lot of people like Celtics got fleeced, Celtics got fleeced. They didn't get fleeced. This gets them under the second apron. So now they're no longer a second apron team. So this was about the flexibility. So now they can operate as a first apron team for one, which now they're not as restrictive. Two, get off some salary. Three, they get, just an asset and a second round pick, Georges Niang, who they can flip or keep or whatever they want to do. Now, we'll touch on Atlanta side because this is where Atlanta's big for them. But the Brooklyn Nets, they get another first round pick from the Brooklyn Nets in number 22. And then also get Terrence Mann, who just gives them, a veteran 3-and-D guy that they could look to trade or keep, right? And then as far as the Atlanta Hawks go, again, they get Kristaps Porzingis in a second-round pick. But for Atlanta, this is them kind of taking that low-risk, high-reward, right? They are trading the 22nd pick, but they're a team that, they need to figure out a direction. So now you have Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson with a Kristaps Porzingis, and then a Niang, or they could kind of figure this out how they want to, or Nkongwe. There we go. Niang got traded, but they have now a opportunity to add a guy in Kristaps Porzingis, who, again, I talked about this recently because the Spurs were interested in him, as well as the Los Angeles Lakers were interested in him, the Golden State Warriors. And my biggest problem with all of it is just he can't play more than 40 games a year. I mean, the guy's averaging 42 games for his career on average for a season. Right? So again, it's a guy that when he's healthy and plays, guy's unbelievable. He's a 28 guy for his career, right? Get you a couple assists, excellent rim protector, right? A guy that can make a real impact on any team. But the problem is the best ability is availability. And he's a guy that just isn't available. He's a guy that you cannot trust and rely on a regular nightly basis to come in and be that guy. And it's even worse come playoff time. I mean, the Boston Celtics got Kristaps Porzingis, and they were absolutely better with Kristaps than without. But they essentially won an NBA championship without him. He played in less than half the games that he was eligible to play in, right, for that run. And then on top of that, the games that he did play, most of them, he was coming off the bench in unlimited minutes because they didn't want him to get hurt again. Right? So it was like, you essentially made this run without without your guy who was supposed to be your third guy in Kristaps Porzingis. Look, if he can stay healthy and he can be particularly come playoff time, this is great for Atlanta. Right? I mean, this would have been great for any team under those circumstances. If it was the Warriors or the Spurs or the Lakers or whomever, right? If any of those teams would have landed Kristaps Porzingis, it would have been a great pickup if he could stay healthy. But Atlanta's a team where it's like they're kind of in that position where it's like you can take the risk, you can take the need. Right? Look at a team like the Lakers. I don't think that they could take that risk necessarily. A team like the Warriors, I think you can argue, I don't even think that they can necessarily take that risk, right? Because they're two teams that are in a position where they have to win right now, and they want to win right now, and they're looking to win right now. Where Atlanta, yes, if they can win right now, they'd love to do it, but if it doesn't work out, it's fine. You let them go, right? You clear off a bunch of salary, and your core is still incredibly youthful and young. Right, so it makes sense to kind of bring him in as kind of one of the veteran guys on this team. He'd work great with Trae Young as that lob threat, as that floor spacer, right? Provide shooting. I mean, this is, in my opinion, this is great for Atlanta. It might actually be one of the better places that Kristaps Porzingis could end up, because I just think Atlanta, I think Kristaps Porzingis is going to be great in Atlanta. I think he's going to have a ton of success in Atlanta if he can stay healthy again. But I also think that he helps raise the ceiling for the Atlanta Hawks in a lot of ways. And I think that this is great. You know, for Brooklyn, they just add another pick. You got to imagine Brooklyn's going to do something, right? Because this will be the 5th pick now that they'll have in this draft, right? So just in the first round. And then they have the 36th pick and all that. Like they have a lot of picks, and there's no way they're going to be able to draft everybody. They'd have to waive and cut guys, do all other stuff, unless they have some other moves. This feels like a move where teams like Brooklyn in particular, maybe even Boston, have other moves in the works. But more than anything, Brooklyn. This is a trade that really feels like something else is coming for Brooklyn. Like Brooklyn is going to have some other trades in the works. Look, maybe it's a Cam Johnson trade. Maybe it's a Clint Capella trade. Or not Clint Capella, Nick Claxton. There we go, thinking Atlanta. Maybe it's a Nick Claxton trade. Maybe it's a combination. Maybe it's both, right? I'm really curious to see what the Nets are going to do because they're going to have to unload some guys. Or they're going to have to trade some of these picks. So do they maybe consolidate some of these picks and maybe move up in the draft and get a higher end guy? Maybe they move, can they go get another top 10 pick? Because they have the number 9th pick, and then they have 4 now. 4, they'd have the 19th, the 22nd, the 26th, and the 27th first. And that's off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. So they have those 4 first. So basically, you have 4 in the top 19, right? So do they maybe take those and get, maybe like the Spurs 14th pick, or maybe they move and can they get into the top 10? Right, like maybe they could work something out with the Suns now. Right? Like I'm curious to see how they play that out. Can they maybe get in the top 10 again and maybe get 2 top 10 picks? Maybe they can get the 8th pick, or look to a Wizards team and get the 6th pick somewhere around there. This is a good move for the Nets. I think this is a real win-win for everybody because I think Atlanta gets a guy that can be an all-star and elevate that team. If healthy, it's a real risk, but it's one that could pay off. And then you get the Brooklyn Nets, who just kind of get assets and another tradable player. And then the Celtics get the cap relief, as well as, an asset and a player in the process. I think this is a real win-win for all sides, for all parties. It's a very interesting trade. I actually kind of like this trade. But we'll see how this kind of continues to play out. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? First off, what do you make of this trade? Are you interested in this trade? Is this something that, you thought one team won more than others? Or do you think that this was kind of like a win-win for all sides? It's kind of how I look at it. I think this was a win-win for all sides. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.